So, without further ado, everybody, we have our next special guest of the evening. It is the godmother of drumming, Dorothea. How are you doing tonight, Dorothea?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for joining. And we were talking before you came back that you are in Eastern time zone, so it's a little bit late for you. I want to thank you once again for staying on late with us tonight.
No problem.
Awesome, awesome. So I think everybody came to know who you were, at least from what I could tell, from that Drumeo video that was made. It's so awesome where you're walking into a music store and they're like, oh, the flute's over there or whatever. And oh, I'm here for the, worship team. And they're like, oh, the organ's over there. And judging a book by its cover is not the way to go for you or anybody. And it was such a cool breakthrough kind of video, I feel, for women in drums. How did you come to be involved with that?
With Drumeo?
Yes.
Well, Jared from Drumeo and the other guys, they just saw that I had several videos that had been going viral. And so they just sent me a message, probably through Instagram, most likely, and, said, this is so and so from Drumeo. We'd love to have you out to Canada. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, where is it at? And they said, you'll fly into Vancouver, but then you have to be picked up and driven to Abbotsford. That's where they are at. And I said, well, it sounds like fun. And so I said, but I don't want to come by myself. Can I bring a friend? And they said, sure. And so I brought one of my former students because he loves to travel. And so he kind of guided me in the airports and everything. Okay, well, let's go over here. Let's go over there.
How cool
And
is
he
that?
loved it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. They flew you out to Canada to create that video.
Yep.
That's so cool. And I was looking at it earlier today. That video on YouTube, anyway, has had over 21 million views. It is crazy. Very, very cool. I mean, for me personally, as a drummer, a female drummer, I so appreciate that you said yes to that because I just think that that was kind of I don't know, a statement, a great statement about female drummers, you know?
I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, when I got there, they said, we have something planned. You're going to have to do a little acting. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is it? And so they told me, okay, first we're going to get you to drive the car. I'm like, drive? I don't even know where I'm at. And then we're going to go by a church and then, blah, 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 and laid it out. And so we did it and it was easy. It came together. And like you said, I think if you go on Facebook under Drumeo, I think it's like up in the 40 millions.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that's the first place I think I saw it was on Facebook, and I'm just telling you, I think it rattled
Crazy.
the female drumming community, and just
Yeah.
really drew attention to female drummers. It has had such a huge impact, you know. I know you're part of the Drummer Girls United group. I'm wearing my shirt tonight. And,
Uh-huh.
just being able to promote other female drummers is so important. And to really just blow up those myths about, whatever people think about female drummers. And before we went live here, we were talking about, doing all the rudiments and all those details. But I want to go back, like, Dorothea, when you were young, what drew you first to drums in the first place, and how old were you?
Well, very young when I was getting into music. And just like we have a 1 year old, he just turned one. So he's 12 months old. And I already see how much he loves music. He was in his little music class or something today at his home because they live about 100 miles away. And he was sitting on the floor right next to the lady that was playing a ukulele and singing. And he was right there in her face. And he's dancing already. So he's showing it. And I feel like that's what happened to me when I was 3. I got one of those little teeny pianos.
Like a little toy piano, like a
Yeah,
little
a
plastic.
little red
Uh-huh.
toy piano. And I think I was 3 years old. I probably got it for Christmas. And my parents said that I would cry because it wasn't making music like I wanted it to make music. And then I started piano lessons in third grade. I was 8. And in sixth grade, I wanted to sign up for drums because I had already been looking at all the drummers on TV. I knew that I wanted to play drums one day.
Was there a
And
specific drummer on TV that you were drawn to?
Buddy Rich, my
Absolutely.
parents would be up late because my father would be coming home from afternoon shift. He'd get home about 11:30 when it came on, Johnny Carson, and they would wake me up. I would be in a dead sleep for school the next morning, and they'd say Buddy's on, and I'd run downstairs and I'd watch Buddy Rich and just dream about drums probably for the rest of the night.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean,
But
his playing is so amazing and just fun to
oh,
watch, you know?
oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah.
And, I watched all the drummers in the parades. We had several, in the summertime, but we had that drum and bugle corps, like I've spoken about before in interviews. We had it in our own little small town. We only had like 7,000 people, but we had a drum and bugle corps and we competed and we were the best in Michigan. Out of all the drum corps in Michigan, we were first place.
Wow, that's
And they
awesome.
practiced right down the street from me. And so I would just walk across one block and just look down the hill because they were down there at the football field and just watch them and listen to them. And I just knew that I was going to play drums one day. So finally, after I had signed up for drums in sixth grade band, and they told me that girls didn't play drums, I had to play the
Wow.
saxophone.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
played saxophone for that one sixth grade year, and then I dropped it. And in eighth grade, is when I went to the drum and bugle corps. After the season is over, then they're going to start, bringing in new people to train and everything. And I went and I signed up, and they didn't say girls couldn't play. They said, sure, sign up right over there. And that's when it took off. Within 2 or 3 months, I was already beating out some of the kids that had been in there a year or two because I
Oh,
loved it so much.
right.
I would just practice my butt off.
Uh-huh. You just sit in your room and just practice over and over. Was there a specific book that you were drawn to or working out
No,
of
no,
primarily?
didn't even have a book then.
Really?
No, they would just show us. We practiced twice a week. They would show us, single stroke roll, double stroke roll, then paradiddle, then a 5-stroke roll, and then a ratamacue and a flam and stuff. And each week, I was learning new things, and I would come down from bed in the morning, have my clothes on. My mom would be fixing me breakfast. I'd pick up my sticks. I had some kind of a padding because they didn't even make drum pads back then. Some kind of thing on my dining room table that didn't scratch the table. I forgot what it was now. And I'd play until she said, come on, eat. So I'd eat breakfast, get my clothes on, walk to school, come home for lunch. I could walk home for lunch, pick up the sticks, even if it was 4 or 5 minutes. Then I would eat lunch, hurry up and play another 4 or 5 minutes, brush my teeth, go off, go back to school, get out of school at 3:30, go straight home, pick up the sticks, the first thing I did. And so if you added in all that time before I went to sleep, I probably practiced at least like 2 hours every single day.
Wow, that's so
And so,
amazing. And it sounds like your parents were super supportive then.
oh, very, very much so. Never, ever said, stop that noise. Never, not once.
Well, and I don't know about you, but as a female drummer, I've met so many women, even at my age, that say that their parents wouldn't let them play drums, when we were growing up, and it just hurts my heart to hear that because
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I always tell them the same thing. I'm like, play now. Like it's never too late to start playing. Playing drums is so much fun, and now
Yeah.
you could do whatever you want. But I'm so glad that trend has really changed. I feel like at
Oh,
least to
because,
where. Go ahead.
yeah, if you go on Facebook, uh, Instagram, TikTok, every day I think I see a new female drummer, and they're really, really good. And from early age, too.
Oh
So
yeah,
I don't know where
yeah.
all these drummers were hiding before, but within the last really 5 years, they have just come out of the woodwork. There's some really good female drummers.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that you've probably inspired a lot of those, Dorothea, and no doubt about it. I mean, seriously,
That would be awesome.
your story and just how much time you spend doing videos and sharing, different rudiments and things like that. I just marvel at all of it. I'm just like, wow, it's so good with social media and such an amazing player. So you started playing, you loving Buddy Rich, you're in the Bugle Corps. So this is eighth grade. At what point did you have a drum set, like actual drum set at your house?
Every Christmas, I would go downstairs and look under the tree, and there was no drum set, and I would be just so disappointed. So one day, I came home from school. It was almost summertime. It was probably like early May. And I came home from school, and my mom and dad had been to a couple of towns over, probably 15 miles away, to the grocery store. And my dad went in the local music store, and there was a used red sparkle drum set, and he bought it for me.
Oh,
And
nice.
so it was in the living room when I came home from school. And I was in 11th grade.
Wow. So were you
And I
just
sat down,
uh-huh.
put it together, and sat down and started playing. And they were like, "How do you know how to play?" Well, I had been listening, and I was playing air drums in my mind for all those years.
How
So
cool
when I
that must
sat
have
down, I
been.
already knew what to do.
Yeah. Oh man, I bet that was the coolest feeling to be able to sit down and do that for the first time, 11th grade. I mean, especially talking about your history of getting to that point. I mean, 11th grade, you're like 16, 17.
16.
Yeah, and like you've been wanting this forever. And do you remember what the drum set was?
It was a brand called Whitehall, but it was a offshoot of um, someone told me one day something like Slingerland or Gretsch or whatever, like a cheaper model.
Uh-huh.
And I had that drum set went when I got married. It went with me all the way out from Michigan all the way out to Klamath Falls, Oregon, because my husband had 1 year left in the Air Force, and I played out there and taught. I got in with the local music store and taught lessons out there, and then we got out of the Air Force and we shoved stuff in the trunk of our car, shoved it inside of the drums, took the heads off, stacked,
Right, just making space wherever you could. That's
make
funny.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
I got in a band, right out of high school. Well, I marched that summer out of high school, my senior year, and then in September I got in a band and we played 5 nights a week, and I
Wow.
made $50 a night, and
That's
that was back in '68.
I can tell you right now that that's good because when I was playing, when I was like in my early 20s, I'd be lucky to make $5 by the time I went home or whatever. Like, just it's hard to make money. Were you playing
Well,
cover
we
songs back then?
oldie moldies,
Uh
but
huh.
they were older people dancing, and because there was a lot of people that had come there from Finland, and so we did a lot of polkas, and people were there until midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock, dancing because the band that I was in was older guys, and they could play like nobody's business. But it was old music. It wasn't rock music at all. It was waltzes
Uh
and
huh.
polkas.
Wow,
People loved that band.
that's so cool. What
I
was the
guess
name of
that's
the
why we
band?
got paid so much.
Yeah. What was the name of that band? Do you remember?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't even know if we had a name.
Oh, funny. That's so awesome to be able to play that frequently. I know when I was younger, the thought of even just playing once a week, I was excited about it, let alone
Yeah.
playing five
Five
nights a
nights a
week.
week.
Very
You had to
cool.
be in the union in Michigan. And
Gotcha.
that was union scale. $50.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
about how old were you when you guys did that band?
I was 17.
17? And,
Yeah.
and
I
did,
have a late birthday,
uh-huh.
November the 30th. So when I graduated high school, it wasn't that long before I had just turned 17. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was 17 when I first started that band.
Wow. So, what happened after that band? Where did your drumming career take
Well,
you?
well, then at 19, then I got married young, and then So I wasn't in that band. But then when we came, we left Oregon when he got out of the Air Force. We came down here to South Carolina because that's where he's from. And I got in a band here playing 5 nights a week as well. I don't remember if it was quite $50 though, but it wasn't bad. But I can't remember exactly what it was. But it was pretty good
I,
money.
I think I need
5 nights
you
a week.
to help me with my own marketing or something. With your 5 nights a week. I want to be sure, as we're chatting, Dorothea, people are asking a few questions, so I want to be sure and ask those questions along the way here. I have so many places to go with our conversation, but I definitely want to make sure.
That was country music, and I
Oh,
had
really?
never heard country music.
Oh my
before.
gosh. But I bet
Because
you were just like, whatever, I love to play. Who cares? Yeah,
I
this is
didn't
great.
care.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't care what it was.
that's awesome. Brandy has a question for you. She says, what advice would you give to young girls who want to become drummers? My daughter is 14 and she started lessons at age 11.
Yeah. Just, I mean, if she loves drumming, if she loves music, the same thing as I did, just pursue, learn as much as you can, and maybe even start playing with some friends just to get the feel of, playing your favorite kind of music, what kind of band that you might be interested in, and just do it. That's the main thing. Just do it.
Yes, totally true. Yeah, don't let anybody stop you or talk you out of it. It's
No, just do it.
yep. If you have a love for it, you'll have the drive probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's really great.
Yep.
Okay, so we went from polka and waltz kind of music, then to country,
Country.
and then what happened?
Oh,
It's like the
played with
timeline
them.
of Dorothea today.
I know. And then I got pregnant, and I played right up in that same band, that country band, until like 3 weeks before the baby was born.
Goodness,
Yep.
man,
And
you're inspiring. Just even that, I'm like, gosh, all right, that's killer.
yeah. And then I can't remember how long that I was out, but then I started playing again because then I got pregnant. My next one was born 3 years later, and I was in a band then too, because my husband would just put the baby to bed when I would leave, to get to where our gig was. If it was, 20, 30 minute away, he would put the baby to bed, and the baby slept all night. And, I'd get home at 1 o'clock, but all my babies slept until like 9 o'clock in the morning. So that
Wow.
helped me.
Yeah, you're lucky. I
That
mean,
really helped.
well, and we're talking about how your parents were super supportive when you were younger, and then to have a husband that's supportive. It's so cool to have so much
Mhm.
support around you as a female
really
drummer.
helps.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So many people are not that lucky, and it's so cool that you had that blessing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it was the same band, but we just played in a different venue than we did the first venue with the country music, but it was the same band. And then I don't know. Then I started playing in the symphony orchestra for 10 years. I had another child like 10 years later. Um, and I remember teaching at the local high school because he would go with me when he was just a little toddler. He would go with me after school and just, run around the field as we were practicing. So I was doing some theater work also. We had a local more than one local theater here. So I was playing theater shows, and I don't think I was playing in a band then because I was just teaching at the high school. I had a few private students, and then I joined the symphony orchestra because my husband was happier that way because by then we had 3 children, and then I wasn't out late at night. I was just, doing my thing. With the symphony orchestra, we only played maybe 4 or 5 concerts for the whole year. But I did those theater gigs. And then I don't think I got into I got into a classic rock band, but that was later because the last time I've played with them was 2019. But I had played with them probably 10 years before. So
And when you say classic rock,
mhm.
like what are some of the bands you guys would cover?
We did some of the new country as well, but classic rock, just I have a list in my, I still have some of the music, but it's over there. I don't know. I can't even remember. Just typical classic rock
Yeah.
songs. We did some Aerosmith, and it was just a big conglomeration of songs.
Have you ever worked in an original band before?
No,
No. Have you
no.
ever? How about do you ever? I've seen people do this recently, and it's really fun. I'm like, I wanted to do this a long time ago, and that is like get like a track of a song and play a different drum arrangement to the
Uh
song
huh.
that doesn't like, like you'll see like somebody do like a Guns N' Roses song reggae or
Yeah,
country or something
yeah.
like that. I always thought that would be really fun. Do you ever do
I
anything like
have.
that, like play around?
Well, I've never recorded it or anything because it's hard. I don't know. I don't have the equipment to take the drums out. So the only time that I've done that is if I happen to find something, maybe on YouTube without the drum, like a drumless thing, and then I put my own stuff to it. But as far as a like a named song and get the drums taken out, no, I don't know how to do that. So
I gotcha. Yeah. I work with a lot of tracks on karaoke version. It's
uh huh.
karaoke-version.com, and you can get a drumless track with a click and
Oh,
then play
cool.
whatever you want. It's like $3 per song or something like that. But
Oh,
I,
that's cool.
even the things
No.
that some of these guys are doing out there, that's just like a little, 20, 30-second clip where they go from one genre to another genre, but all with the same music. I was watching one the other day.
Uh-huh.
It was talking about a worship drummer, and they'd be like the tom worship drummer, and then it'd be like all that stuff, and then like the halftime worship drummer, the speed metal worship drummer, and all this stuff. And I love all that stuff because playing drums, well, any instrument really, is such a creative release. It's
Yeah.
you to allow yourself to be creative and utilize the things that you've learned and play something different to something else. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun, I think. So the
And
band,
then
go ahead.
there's the thing that some people are doing too. You'll hear the count off, but then they'll come in like 1/16 later.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
they'll move one over.
I've heard that too. I'm like, oh, like it's almost so painful to watch. You're like,
Oh,
no, stop doing that.
I know.
I've seen that too, man. It's crazy, and
I'm
I
like,
mean,
oh, my brain.
yeah, but you're talking about how so many younger women are out there, and you find them on YouTube or out there on social media, and they're so amazing. I think the one thing that people have now that we didn't have as kids is just all the content that's out there to learn from. My
Oh
gosh,
gosh,
I mean, it's endless. It really is. I mean, from the
yeah,
stuff that Drumeo does to individual artists or just
yeah,
influencers or whatever. It's such a great
yeah.
opportunity
Because
to
that
learn.
didn't used to be out there. We had to
No,
come up with it on our own.
right, right. And like the only time you would see another drummer is if you went to a concert or,
Right.
happened to be watching a variety show like what the Mandrell sisters or something. I
Oh
remember that
yes,
stuff. Remember
gosh.
that? Or Donnie and Marie or whatever.
Uh huh.
What was the other one? The country one with,
Karen Carpenter too.
yep,
I
yes.
used to watch her.
Yes. And there was that oh god, I can't remember the name of the country show with Buck Owen and those guys.
Oh, hee haw.
Hee haw, yeah, all that stuff, or Johnny Carson, like you said. But I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
just wasn't like it is now. I mean, you can have millions times more opportunity to learn from other drummers out there, and it's just so cool. All right, so you had your classic rock band. You said the last time you guys played together was in 2019. So that's been about 6 years. And
Hmm.
so, what are you doing primarily now with your music?
Just mainly just doing it here from the house. I get a couple of opportunities, here and there. Like I have a standing job for the 4th of July concert and two Christmas concerts, and then the school region bands. All those band directors get together during regional tryouts, which is coming up February something. It's like in 2 weeks. I need to learn the music.
It'll be a
I play
snap
with
for you.
them. So so that's about it as far as just playing out. And it's kind of nice that I don't have to drag all of my equipment, carry it, put it in my car and take it out and carry it in the building and set it all up and all. So
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. That's one of my primary
yeah,
forms of workout right now is lugging my
yeah,
drums around.
I
Definitely.
know. Yeah, my back is terrible, so I don't miss that part of
Right.
it.
But
When
you're
I do play those few during the year, my husband always packs my car up for me, and then
oh,
he'll come with me if I know that there's no one there during the gig or at the gig that's going to help me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he'll just come in his own car and help me set it up.
That's a great
He doesn't know how
husband.
to set drums, but he can, put them
Yeah.
up on the stage and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you also spend a fair amount of time making videos that you post
Yeah.
out on various social media. Do you do like how often are you releasing videos? It feels like I see a new one every day. You know,
Yeah. I've been trying to put something up every day.
that's so cool. And
I'm trying.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, when we were talking offline, that's one thing that I never did growing up was, really study rudiments and stuff like that. And you've been a real inspiration to me personally to want to get back to that. And all the videos that you have right now just up, if I was just to start through those, I know it would be a huge help. And not just to me,
Yep.
but like I said, so many other people out there that are looking to learn, and especially women out there that, need to be inspired by someone, to have somebody to look up to that's a female, that's a drummer. So it's just really super cool. I got another question coming in,
Okay.
Dorothea. Jennifer asks, if you could play drums for any musician, living or not, who would it be?
Oh gosh. Hmm.
These questions are hard sometimes. Saying.
I know because there's so many. Oh my gosh. Just over the years listening to, like a lot of my favorite bands. I mean, Zeppelin, just sitting in with Zeppelin, that would be amazing. But
Right?
I loved Aerosmith. I think I always thought that they would be fun to play with too.
Uh,
I mean, there's just so many.
yeah.
Um, I'll probably think of them after we get offline.
Well, it'll be a good topic of conversation for your next video before you start some rudiments online, you know?
Yeah.
I'm with you though. That's a tough one. I mean, and yeah, playing with Zeppelin, that would be crazy. Have you created any videos of Zeppelin songs that are out there right now?
Yeah. Yeah. There's some in my folders of if you dig through TikTok and Instagram and maybe even YouTube, there's some things in there. And then Steve Gadd, I do a lot of Steve Gadd kind of licks, his famous licks that he's known for and everything. I think those are fun. And some of the John Bonham famous licks. I like those kind of things to play. Just something that catches everyone's ear and they're like, "Oh, I know what that is."
Right.
That
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I'll have to talk to you. I've been wanting to work up a drum solo and pull pieces from songs that are very signature to kind of
Uh-huh.
like make a little medley or something like that. I have some things in mind. I bet you would have some good ideas for that. That'd be a lot of fun. I remember also when we were talking offline today that you've actually got some endorsements now through the fame that you've gotten from being on social media and just the attention that you've drawn. I saw one earlier today, Liquid Death video
Yes.
from a couple of years ago. I was like, man, that is some hardcore metal right there. And I mean,
Yeah.
you're not afraid to learn or play along with anything. But tell me a little bit about. Are you still with Liquid Death?
No, I haven't heard anything lately from them, but that was amazing. They paid me well for it, and I had to do several posts, and then they said that they were going to come and we'd find a studio. Well, we never found one here in Myrtle Beach, so we went down to Charleston, South Carolina, to this really cool studio, and they had this big new Vistalate Ludwig kit, and I got to play on that for that recording, and that was a blast. That was so much fun. And then um trying, gosh, this company Reformation. I wanted to
Okay.
say
Uh-huh.
Resolution.
Reference.
Reformation.
Okay.
I've done several videos for them, and it's just a ladies' clothing thing, but they're kind of, they have their own little niche in the world of advertising. And so I've done some videos with their clothes on, and Slingshot, the three-wheeled vehicle
Oh yeah,
that
your
comes.
your profile picture. You have a picture with a slingshot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. They sent me two different ones
Wow.
to drive. We have one,
That's so
but
cool.
they sent me one, a newer one, and so I did several videos on that one. And then the next year they sent me another one that was newer,
This is not a
a little
bad
bit
problem to
different.
have, by the way.
I know. So,
You're like, get
so
some
that was
clothes
fun.
and a slingshot and some
I
liquid
know.
death waters. Great.
Yep.
That's really cool.
And then I started getting, you know, full endorsement with Paiste cymbals, which I have some amazing cymbals. They sound fantastic. And then all of my Evans heads through Diodario and Promark sticks. What else? The Tamburo drums. These acrylic drums are amazing. They're from handmade in Italy, and they just
Wow.
sound so good. The bass drum is an 18 by 16,
Oh wow.
and everyone that has come up here in my studio upstairs here, just like they can't get over how good this bass drum sounds. It's amazing.
Does it just sound like way bigger? Like it's got like a
Oh
deep
yes,
thud to
definitely.
it, but it's an 18 by 16. That's crazy.
Yes,
For
yes,
those watching, the standard is more like 22 or a 20, but
yeah,
18's pretty small. It's like a floor tom. I
yeah.
have a floor tom behind me that's at 18.
But it is up on a little bit of a riser, and so for me to look down, it doesn't look small at all. It really doesn't.
That's really cool. And you know what? That's one less heavy or thing that you have to carry to a gig,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The 22s are just ugh.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
Now.
I'm checking to make sure we covered all the questions. I see one more here. I know we're almost at the end of our time, but Brandy has a question for you. She says, "Who are your top 5 favorite drummers and why?"
Well, I always have to say Buddy Rich, because to me, there's never will be someone exactly like him. The things that he could do and the speed with his, left hand and stuff. And just, he was just so, I don't know, innovative in his soloing and everything. It was just incredible. And then another one of my favorites is Vinnie Colaiuta. I just love Vinnie Colaiuta. His his snare work and just his traditional grip is just, I just love watching him play. But I mean, he's just, I would tell you to go and find some of his work and find some of his videos. Vinny is the man.
Yeah, I have a friend,
And
and I hadn't heard of him until I was like 19 or 20, and a friend of mine was a huge fan of his and turned me on to him. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
really inspiring.
yeah. And then I put John Bonham there because if you know about drum rudiments and everything, and you listen back to his recordings, he was playing it. So he was trained somehow. I don't know what his schooling was for drums, but he's not just playing a bunch of singles. He had some rudiments thrown in there. And then just other drummers like Dave Weckel, he did a clinic at the music store that I worked at. I did that as well. Uh, and Dave Weckl, it's just like, oh my gosh, he's so smooth and just amazing. Um, Steve Smith is crazy
Yep,
good.
I love
Love
him.
his stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I could just keep going, but those probably would be like the top five. Neil Peart never really did it for me for some reason. And Neil is a lot of, but I'll say this, there are a lot of non-drummers, ton of non-drummers that loved Neil Peart more so than drummers, really good drummers that loved Neil Peart. I did kind of like a little study through
I
asking people
yeah, I could
to
imagine
know
that
stuff.
to be true too. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I'm looking more for interesting and unique beats than I am fast
Uh-huh.
fills. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
He did a lot of singles
mhm.
and he sat really low and his elbows were always out because he played like this and it bugged me. It just bugged me. I'm like, sit up higher, put your arms down.
You're like, come on, Neil.
Yeah.
Wow. Uh,
So he was not my favorite, but I read two of his books and I loved the books.
what was the one?
He's very smart.
The Ghostwriter, I think, right?
Yeah.
I read that one too.
Yeah.
It was a great book. Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a great writer,
Yeah.
but I
Totally.
just didn't like his style
Yeah.
of drumming.
Yep.
It was different.
I got a
And
couple other questions in here. I'm gonna try to sneak in. I know it's
okay.
getting late for you, Dorothea. So thank you for staying on. Michael Gray wants to know, what is your favorite warm up rudiment?
Oh, favorite. Well, when I get like first thing in the morning, if I come out, because I have like we have some bar stools, and there's the bar stool over there in the corner there by the wall. I have like 3 or 4 different pads, and I have a couple pair of sticks right there, and I just grab them and I just do warm ups first with just like 8 on a hand, and then I might start playing some rudiments, and I might do singles and rolls, singles and rolls, and then I might do paradiddles and inverted paradiddles and into rolls. And then I'll get into flam exercises, flam taps, flam pataflaflas, and paradiddle diddles. So I'll just play like a whole bunch of different rudiments. I don't really know if I have a favorite rudiment, but I talk about paradiddles all the time just because paradiddles and the inversions of paradiddles. Can I play something really quick on here?
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how it comes through. I don't know how it will come
Yeah.
through, but let's give it a whirl.
Okay. I'm just going to play, I'll play kind of soft, just paradiddle inversions on the hats and the snare.
We can see it, but it's not coming through the microphone, so I have to be louder. Yeah, yeah. But I could see you doing it and get the idea of it.
How about now?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you hit a little harder, then I can hear it. Probably
Is it better or louder?
it's better. Ah, yeah. It
And
won't
those are
say.
just
But yeah,
paradiddles and inversions.
yeah. That's so cool. Like I said, you're inspiring me right now. It's like I feel like I'm so behind. I'm like, dang it, Dorothea, I was having a good day. So no, I'm just kidding. No, it is. It's seriously, it is inspiring. And I mean, like we were talking about earlier, it's like, if you don't have a lot of rudiments in your bag, then you have a limit, right? You kind of
But
limit
you
of
can't pull them
yeah.
out because they're not in there.
That's right. That's right. You only have a certain amount of things that you can pull out. So it's really inspiring that you are so dedicated to your instrument. And like I said, you've played every kind of music that I've seen out there. Speaking of which, another person here has a question of, what is your favorite genre of music to play?
Yeah. I love uh, like funk, blues and funk, because it just has such a good groove.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite.
I'll have to send.
Rock,
Yeah.
but funk when it's funky, really funky. Like even gospel, if you get the right kind of gospel, not the Christian music, but the gospel that they're really laying it into, but it's kind of funky. I just like that kind of music.
Yeah. It just it you can't help but like groove to it physically. You're just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
love it.
I'm with you on that. It's awesome.
Stanton Moore is another one of my favorites,
Mhm.
and he's from New Orleans, so he plays that kind of New Orleans. I don't know. It's kind of funky though to me. I love what he does with it. Uh, I don't know what the music is. It's New Orleans jazz. I don't know, but
Yeah.
there's horns in there, and
Uh-huh.
it just if you look up Stanton Moore on Instagram and stuff, listen to his performances with other bands. It's so good.
That's so awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm with you. I love like a good funk groove.
Yes.
So Dorothea, before we wrap this up, I want you to tell everybody how they can find you on the magical interwebs. What all social media you're on, your website, anything you got, throw it at us.
Yeah. And I do have on my TikTok and my Instagram and maybe Facebook. I think Facebook as well. Once you find me, I do have links. If you go to my bio and look up the links, there's discounts for the Revolution drum pad, the Korg electronic setup that I have that I've shown. I posted something with Korg today. There's a discount. Drumeo, if you sign up, you get 30 days free
Nice.
with Drumeo.
Yeah.
I have all of that in the links in my bios. But
Great.
so in TikTok and Instagram, I am Taylor dot Dorothea, Dorothea. So you have to put the Taylor dot Dorothea. Other people are trying to scam me, and they'll put 2 dots, or they'll put a line after the Dorothea. You know, it's just Taylor dot Dorothea. That's me, the real one. But you will see the blue check on
The verified.
Instagram.
Yeah, verified.
Yeah, so
Very
I am
cool.
verified.
Yeah.
And Dorothea Taylor in YouTube. Facebook, I have 2. I have like one is more of a business one, and then the other one is more where, people that are friends and family and people that I grew up with in Michigan. And so one is Dorothea Taylor. That's the business one. And then the one that is just with friends and family, but anybody can go on it, is Dorothea Jose, Jose Taylor. It's not Jose. It looks like Jose, but it's English. It's Jose. That's my maiden name.
Gotcha. I want to give a big shout out of thanks to Brandy for posting the link to your bio that has all those links.
Okay.
So we're just looking at that. So if you click on that, it looks like it's all going to the right spot where it shows your discounts and product links and everything like that. So that's really cool. Thanks. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. And Dorothea, it was such a pleasure chatting with you tonight, and really hope we can get you to Dallas here soon for our Drumathon event. We would love to have you. I'll keep in touch with you on that if you happen to be available, and love to have you out. And just thank you so much again for what you're doing for the female drumming community and the inspiration that you are.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
You bet. You have a great evening. Stay warm.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, give it up for Dorothea in the house, man. Such a rock star. So grateful that she could join us this evening.